All right, I got another little project to do. And we're not going to have any potty talk today. Well, I guess we will just a little bit. But we don't do potty talk on this Instagram channel, feed. What do we call it? Is it a feed? Is it a channel? I don't know. Anyway, we don't do potty talk here, but I am going to talk about the potty today. And I don't know about you, but I'm sick of watching. Like, why do you got to cuss on a channel? Like, I don't want to hear that. You know? And I'm not even just because I'm a Christian, I don't want to hear that and don't want to say it. But if anybody out there has a channel, I'm just letting you know, if you cuss at all, like, I'm out. I watched the first one, and then you're done. I don't watch you anymore just because I can't listen to it. So that's a little tip. If you're posting stuff, put on some clothes and don't cuss because we don't want to hear it. But anyway, I digress. That was free. As my old pastor, Olton Phillips, used to say, that was free. Well, really, all this is free. But here's the deal. House is 5 years old. All of a sudden, every now and then, the toilet's just running. I'm going to go catch it. Just kidding. So this thing's out. I've tried to adjust it, but it's finally wore out. And honestly, I buy these little cheap plastic ones because, it lasted 5 years. So I'm going to show you how to do this today. And I'm not a plumber, obviously. But if you go and buy one of these, they're so easy to do. And I don't know how many I've done over the years, but they even have little scans where you can watch a video to show you exactly how to install this one. But it's really pretty simple. So if you notice the bottom of it down there. So first thing we got to do is turn the water off, obviously, and then get something to catch the water, the residual water from the tank. So what I usually do is cut the water off and then flush the toilet a bunch. There's a shut off down here. You can turn that off. And then you need something because the tank doesn't totally empty out. There's still a little in there, and when you take this off, it's going to come coming out. So you want to put something under there. This is not our good tea pitcher from the kitchen. Yeah, it is. It is. But don't worry. This is the water. This is all clean water. This is what they call potable water. So anyway, so what I'm going to do is underneath here. I don't know if you can see it, but there is a fitting here, and usually you can do it with your hand. Untighten it. If not, put some channel locks on it or a crescent wrench. So what I'm going to do is unscrew that, and then this whole thing's going to come off. We're also going to disconnect the water from here, and then so give me a second. I don't have a tripod. Just give me a second. All right, so I got it unscrewed, and listen, seriously, be ready because that's a hole down there. And I know it doesn't look like there's a lot of water left, but what you have to be mindful of is it actually is a lot of water. Even though it looks like it's very little in the bottom, so you gotta have something to catch that or else you're gonna have a mess. So what's kind of neat about this too, doesn't it look like a distributor kind of from a car? That's kind of neat. One thing to know too, or else you will, because you can break these tanks now. These are porcelain, so you can over tighten them. This is reverse thread. So, righty tighty, lefty loosey. Well, they're reversed. So actually to get it off, you've got to turn it right. That's important to remember because you can really mess something up. Okay. So now we're going to take our new cheap one from Taiwanese or wherever it's from. Let me open it up and then I'm going to show you something. All right, so as you can see, it's very similar to the other one. Now the height difference is there, and that's where you can raise your float up or down. I'm talking about the screw part where my hand's holding it right now. So you can make it where, we've got more water. And really all that is just that's the distance the float's going to have to travel. And so it depends on how much water you want in your bowl. So you can adjust that as you want. And there's instructions, so you can read those, but that's very simple. And this screw here is going to be where we adjust how high we want the watermark to be. So give me a minute. I'm going to put this on. That's very important. See that washer there, the red washer? Gasket, I guess I should say. You want to tighten it down, but not too tight. You don't want to crack it. And then we'll also replace the hose. But let me put it on and I'll show you. All right, so I got mine in. And again, you don't want to over tighten this thing down here. Just make sure it seals good. There's a reason they're plastic fittings. I usually do hit it with the channel locks just a little bit to snug it up, but you don't got to get crazy. The other thing is just read the instructions. Like you want to make sure that the top of the valve is higher than this by about, 2 or 3 inches. I think this instruction said 3 inches, but get that in there. Now this cap holds the fill tube in. And they sent me one with this, but I'm going to go ahead and just use the one that's there because there's nothing wrong with it. And so that's where your fill is. So we can put that in. And then you got to put your water line back on. All right, so once everything's snugged up, again, you don't have to put the the death grip on all this down here. Now I did hit it with a pair of channel locks really easily, just quickly. And then what I like to do is wipe all the water up, make sure there's nothing down there, and then I go ahead and turn it on. Just because I know everything's dry, which I didn't really do a good job of that. Hang on. Let me wipe it up. And so now we're just gonna watch and make sure we don't see any drips. And now it's starting to fill up. And if you've never seen this in action, it's pretty cool actually. Fun fact, the guy that made the toilet was Thomas Crapper. Didn't know if you knew that or not. Now this little screw right here adjusts how much water the tank's gonna fill, but it's just like a horse trough or a water trough. This little float's gonna come up. I haven't even touched it yet. But this is what controls how much water is gonna be in the tank when you flush it. So we can spin this knob to raise the float up or down. So just hang on a second. You're gonna have to have a little bit of patience. Let's let it fill up. I think this valve was like $12 or something like that. The problem is a lot of people just goes to, and hey, I am doing something while I'm talking. I'm making sure I've got my hand down here on the fittings, making sure there's no water. But, you know, a plumber's going to charge you, I don't know, $100 probably to come out and do this. You've seen how easy it is. I mean, I didn't really have to have a pair of channel locks to do it. And now the float, starting to move a little bit. Over there. Starting to move. Hold. And I think it's been sitting in my garage for like 2 years too. I bought it for a rent house and didn't have to use it. Oh. Now this is what we're looking for. Total silence. Look in there. We fixed it. It's done. Now look, a lot of things too, have you ever been to somebody's house and they're like, hey, when you get done using the bathroom, jiggle the handle. Why do they say that? You ever wonder? Well, here's why. You see the little chain down in there? Sometimes people get a little overzealous with the chain on the length of the flapper, and it'll sometimes get caught down in there if it's too long or too short, or it's the flapper's not sitting good. That's the blue thing down there. And so they'll say jiggle the handle because it'll move that flapper a little bit. So it looks like we did it. Now, if you can see, there's the old watermark there, but I don't really care. I mean, how much water do you need? You know what I mean? So let's try it. You don't have to fill it all the way up, but you know, you can always just hold the handle down longer if you want a little extra water. A lot of people don't realize that, the low volume flush. You know, and listen, I'm not a plumber, but you know, the low volume tanks that they put in now, or toilets they put in, you can just hold the handle and then you're like high horsepower, you know? All right, so let's take a look. Is it gonna work? I think we got it. Let's let it fill up one last time. Look at there. No more running. I think we got her. So the other one was just shot. Let me do one last quick review of the water, make sure we're not leaking anywhere. And then we'll go from there. Now, look at that. I actually nailed it. I didn't even try to. Is it above that water line? I can't tell. Nope, look at there. Nailed it. Didn't even try. First try. All right, that's it. We got her done. Gave her a couple of test flushes just to make sure. You know, trial runs. I would say dry runs, but it weren't dry. No water. Now, here's where I'm going to teach you something that's going to be invaluable. And it's not just because I have OCD. Leave the water on, but come back and check it every few minutes, you know, every 20 minutes, 30 minutes or so. That way, if something goes wrong, you'll know and you can turn the water off. So anyway, hope you found it helpful. Have a great day.